Hi, it's Chris from Implied Music. Sometimes we just want to use one chord, not a chord progression, but just a single sonority that expresses what we mean. But just playing a simple triad or seventh or even a ninth chord can be boring, can feel static. Today I want to talk about animating single chords with line cliches. Let's take a look. So a line cliche is a melodic line within a chord that animates and propels it. Here's an example. Simple C triad with a moving line. Here we go. Take a look at it. I'm playing the same bass note, C, fifth, there's the octave, but you can see that the fifth step of the scale ascends to the sixth and then the seventh. We could repeat that again and again for an interesting effect. So the classic rock riff is just taking the fifth and going up and down. It's a kind of a line cliche. Let's take a little bit further. It's a kind of a line cliche. That is to say, a single chord animated by a moving line. Now, sometimes the moving line is within the scale, diatonic, and sometimes it's chromatic. And a chromatic moving line can be really exciting. Here's an example of a chromatic moving line. And you probably heard there how the fifth ascended to the augmented fifth, made a augmented C chord, and then to the sixth, and then finally up again to the B flat. And that moment there sounds like C7. In fact, it is a C dominant chord. It very smoothly might lead to an F chord, which we could do the same thing to. Maybe back down again and C. The song from Cabaret, Maybe This Time, uses that trick, and there are numerous other examples. In fact, let's take a look at a couple more examples. One of my favorite uses of line cliche, and they almost always move from the root or the fifth, is the use of a moving root on a minor triad. Here's one you might recognize the sound of. It's an A minor triad, and the bass keeps moving down. She's buying a stairway. There are tons of popular songs that use this trick. And I don't know, is it really a trick? It's not really a trick. It's a line cliche. It's a cliche, and it's a cliche because it works. It's a cliche because it's beautiful. It animates the chord. Here's one last little thing. So line cliches can move us to new chords. Here's an example of a line cliche moving up by half steps chromatically to give us a dominant sound on the one chord, and then taking us to the four chord. I'm going to turn the four chord around from major to minor, and it'll take us back home again to the one chord. Really only two different chords there in terms of the harmonic rhythm, the C chord and the F chord, and you can easily see those roots. I returned to the C chord, but you can see how the chromatic ascending line here leads to the dominant, leads to the flat seven, and creating a dominant sound. And now I'm at an F chord. The A is on top throughout until it gets to A flat, but look down here. C is the fifth, raising up a half step, raising up another half step. And then this last chord, F minor, takes us home to C major. Well, line cliches can be used in a variety of ways. You can distribute these notes to an orchestral section and get a great result. You can play them, as pianists often do, as thumb lines underneath the melody. The thumb moves underneath. Or include them in your orchestrations just kind of any old time to create a little more animation and fun. Give the moving line a slightly different rhythmic identity. It can be a very, very strong effect. Well, I hope this was useful. As always, like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified when I post something new. Leave a comment, and I'm curious to know what would be helpful to you in your arrangements and your future work. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.